Alright, can you guys hear me okay then? I'm going to assume the answer is yes, unless I hear otherwise. Appreciate you guys being patient with me here while I switch to a headset. Much better on the sound. Great to hear. Good to hear. Now I do need to, real quick, adjust the audio so I can hear myself. Oop, I'm actually going to kill the client real quick. Yeah, no, it's too bad because I prefer using a microphone and headset, but it's just not. See, I'm using analog plugs on that thing, and I think this computer just doesn't like it. Like when I'm at home, it's fine, but I think there's something going on with the sound card, perhaps, on this computer. Computer. All right. I can talk about it in just a second, but yes, new logo. I don't know, Amaref. I haven't actually had the chance to check it out today. I guess we'll find out soon enough. I've been running into the office doing stuff, so... I mean, I think so. We put in a fix for it, so assuming that that works. Go. Go. There we go. Alright, you guys should be able to hear me okay. Hello and welcome to the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDOstream and youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live. I'm DDO's community manager Cordovan here to show you the gnome. We're going to talk anniversary loot. We're going to run the new anniversary quest, and we're going to have a whole bunch of fun. Hopefully I can answer your questions as well. If you'd like to ask me a question in chat, if I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll just say, or something along those lines. Appreciate you guys joining me. Hopefully you had a fun time during our 10th anniversary. I know I did. Update 30 is released. Gnome. It's Gnome-ageddon. We have our new anniversary updates and prizes and things like that. We just got done with the hotfix Open the World, well, not quite an hour ago. Let me get that in. Is Mock Duck. Gonna outfit myself with just a little bit of gear from my bank. I'm gonna have to do a better job of it later, but it should be good enough for now. I'm sure I can find something or other to wear. Alright. Fortified ring. Go. There you go. False life, good enough. Further falling belt, good enough. Gem of many facets, good enough. Let's see. Black wolfskin cloak, good enough. Alright. Yes, you're seeing the secret inventory of Mock Duck. It's not that secret. It's pretty much junk, just like your bank. It's just like, I don't know, let me just put it in there. And now it's all full, and you're just like, oh my god. So, yep. Reveler's Regalia. It's cool enough. Well, alright, good enough. Now let's equip my quarterstaff just for funsies-ish. Alright, hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining me here, everyone. Put stuff you're unsure about in the guild chest, that's where everything truly goes to rot. I'll see, yeah, you're not wrong, right? Yeah. I actually have some, so that's just my kind of temporary storage. I have some bank characters that I have to sort through and figure out what I'm actually going to do. But like I say, this guy's kind of just a, I'm probably going to do something a little better on this guy later on. I just rolled him up for the thing today. Let's see what else we got in our chat. Thanks for fixing Final Strike. Wasn't sure if that was doing anything in tests or not. Cool. Yeah, I know that there's a guy in the forums who is very insistent that we be more clear as to what it does. That's something I'm going to be looking into as soon as time permits. I don't actually know what the answer is in terms of what the exact numbers are on it off the top of my head, but it's something I've been looking to look into. I just haven't had time. Like I said, we've just been busy, busy, busy. So. Alright, so let me take a look at the anniversary token collector rewards here. To kind of go through this list, I thought, you know, a lot of you already know this stuff, but for those of you who don't, I thought it would be worth talking a little bit about what some of this stuff does and why you might want it. So the Quiver of Alacrity, one of the reasons we put it in is it has no minimum level. No minimum level on the Quiver of Alacrity. It gives you 10% ranged alacrity, so that's your ranged attack speed. And you can upgrade it through the Black Abbot if you want to, but it's just pretty much flat out kind of a good default, I think, for a lot of people, provided you're going to get anything from that ranged alacrity. But again, it's no minimum level. The Hellfire crossbow, it's kind of funny on the forums, they were like, I can't believe you included that in the list. But remember, this list is not meant to be the most powerful items in the game, but the most desirable. And I even saw some forum comments saying, surely people don't actually like this thing. Yes, they do. This is actually one of the most popular items for its level. It's one of the better repeating light crossbows for artificers at level 4. Maybe the best. So that's why it's in the list. The Mantle of the World Shaper and the Voice of the Master do similar things in that they give you a 5% XP bonus, and then if you have both of them, you can combine it together to get an augment that'll give you 5% XP. The reason we included this in the list is not everyone has both pieces. Maybe you have one pack but not the other. Maybe you've run Delaras a bunch but you just don't really feel like running Threnal. So if you want to, you can just go ahead and take this as your choice. The Belt of Brute Strength is a level 9 item. Strength plus 6, greater false life. Pretty straightforward there. The Chattering Ring, spot 13, dodge 6. Hurts your move silent a little bit. Back in the day, this was a really popular ring item from the Titan. Maybe not quite so hot nowadays, but I know some folks will like it. The big thing about the Kundaric Delving Boots is that they offer freedom of movement on it, so that's in their min-level 9. So that can be pretty good against, like, say, things that are doing Ice Storm on you, that kind of thing. Seven-fingered gloves are other than arcane casting dexterity by lowering your spell failure chance by 10% and giving you a UMD plus 5. They're a decent rogue item as well. Shining Crescents are interesting in that it's a sickle that acts and looks like a quarterstaff, so it benefits from, say, two-handed fighting. It's particularly interesting for monks because it is considered to be they don't get proficiency in it, but it is considered to be a centered weapon. So at one point it was a pretty interesting combination for a bunch of folks, because you will get, say, you could have improved crit slashing and it'll work on it, but it will act in some ways like a quarterstaff and blunt weapon. So it's pretty cool. Minos Legans really doesn't need anything that's Fort 100. Chaos Blade, I never really used the Chaos Blade, but I know people like that as a Kopesh. Mirrorless Chain in particular is kind of cool looking, low level, Secret plus 6. Gauntlets of Eternity is for a lot of clerics, healer types. I've always liked it. It's heal 13, repair 13. Devotion for positive spell power, healing lore, and eternal faith, which is kind of a turn undead thing. But if you're into that, you can. And that's also that. Here's one of the biggies. I expect this to be one of the bigger items that a lot of people are going to take, the Litany of the Dead. It is a level 13 trinket. This basically comes from the Abbot raid and is one of the more popular items from the Abbot raid. So one of the things it has is a clicky 3 charges per rest, which will give you, it'll cut your spell point cost in half for the next 6 seconds. So yes, not very long, but good for buffing, good for when you just need to unload and spam spells, things like that. The other thing it does is it gives you a +1 profane bonus to all of your abilities. It does have a Taint of Evil, so depending on whether you're good, you will suffer a negative level if you're good aligned, so you don't want to take it for good aligned. And then also it'll give you a +1 profane bonus to attack and damage, not a big deal for some builds, and then an upgraded item on with the Black Abbot. But that's a really popular item, and is one of the reasons I know that people still like to run the Abbot, and so now this will be a good choice. I expect this to be something that, frankly, a lot of you guys take, but maybe not, depending on you. Madstone boots have the Madstone rage effect, so when you get hit, it can proc rage on you, essentially. Otherwise, it's a fairly normal boot. The Ring of Lies gives you Charisma, Diplomacy, Bluff, Haggle, Perform, and Deception, and it can be upgraded, so that's not terrible for certain build types as well. The Tharn's Goggles give you True Seeing, in addition to some nice rogue things, but the True Seeing I know in particular is one of the reasons people like it. It's also part of the Tharn's Wrath set, which will basically give your weapons Ghost Touch and generate less threats, so, and Featherfall. So it's kind of a nice set bonus that people go for. The Death Nip is a heavy pick, probably the best named heavy pick. Seeker +10, augment slot. Levik's Defender, chance to cast heal spell on you when you take damage. That's probably the big reason why people take it. Also has a set bonus, which is not terrible. Let's see. I'm just seeing the chat. Is the list now full and final? Yes, should be. I'm going to agree with you, Z332, on the Hellfire crossbow. Like I said, remember that the point of this list is not to give you the most powerful items in the game or the rarest items in the game, but it's a list of the most popular items in the game. So yes, the Hellfire crossbow can be found relatively easily. Yes, it is a minimum level 4, so if you have the adventure pack, if you want something else, don't take the Hellfire crossbow. But it's an option. Doesn't hurt to have it there. It's kind of what it comes down to. So, and the Taint of Evil on the Litany of the Dead can be removed with the upgrade in the Necropolis there. Seymour uses Quiver of Alacrity is the best item, plus 30% striding on Quiver slot when upgraded. Yeah, that's a nice one too. Now, striding isn't speed, unfortunately, so it doesn't necessarily improve your attack speed. But it's not a terrible thing there. So, Quiver 1, Litany 2. Yeah, it's for most, I think a lot of people that's going to be the case. The Skyver is a dagger, minimum level 14. In particular, it has plus 200 spell points, so it's kind of a decent offhand item for things like, say, this mage. It does give you efficient meta magic, and for both Empower and Extend, has an empty red augment slot, and puts all of your spells a plus 6% equipment bonus to get a critical hit. So this is, at least the way I've always interpreted it. I never really used it because I don't really play a lot of casters, but my understanding is it's popular as an offhand weapon for a lot of wizard types. Staff of the Petitioner is a quarterstaff, and one of the things that is nice about it is when you have it equipped, it's negative 10% to all of your spell point costs. It also gives you a boost to Necromancy, Enchantment, gives you Concentration, Spell Pen 3, and it can be upgraded as well. The Twin Blade is a bastard sword, and has some nice stuff with it too. I can't remember, you can also, break it apart or something like that? Unwavering Ardency is going to be one that I think some folks will be taking. It's minimum level 14, gives you fear immunity, but it's a longbow that's pretty popular because it does Flaming Burst. It gives you sort of a permanent blur effect, and it can be upgraded. And say it's a pretty good, nice longbow. I mean, there are a lot of good bows in this game, but it's up there. Divine Vengeance is Cold Iron plus 5, fairly basic, but it's a longsword, and well, people like it. The Warforged Dose in the Battle is for you Warforged types out there. It does give you an extra 10% fortification con, proved false life. Zakoshan Ear Dweller is interesting in that it gives you a 100 bonus to spell damage and healing for a minute, 3 charges per rest. So it's another one kind of like the other thing where you can use it to just unload on mob bosses, things like that. Otherwise it gives you some basic caster stuff. Tovin's Hammer is interesting in that I thought it was going to be Lucid Dreams. But when I bounced this off the Players' Council and the public at large, people were telling me, no, Tovin's Hammer is the one to put if you're going to put one rune arm in there. I don't know, man. I thought it should have been Lucid Dreams, but I'm going to listen to you dudes on this, and dudettes. It's a tier 5, gives lightning strike to your items, spell power bonus, exceptional fortification. You can update it with Kenneth crafting stuff. It gives your weapons electrical damage, and it's +5 crafting. Epic Helm of the Red Dragon is level 20. Magma Surge Guard is one of the bigger things about it, and depending on the caster type and that, it does give you fire augmentation. So I may actually end up taking that on this wizard as well. Antipody is just really awesome set of hand wraps that come from Caught in the Web. It does all sorts of damage. You can read about it, and it reinforces your fists and gives you a bonus on stunning. The Rapier is Balazard, again from Caught in the Web, and it's a really nice rapier. Celestia is a short sword, in particular good for light damage types. It does supreme good, +7. It's attuned to heroism, and it even has a fiery detonation, so like on a Vorpal, it'll deal 15d6 fire damage that can be saved against. Cleaver's a great axe that's pretty awesome. Again, that's from Caught in the Web. Needle's another good repeater light. If you have a higher level Artificer, you might want to look at Needle. I actually still use it sometimes on my level 28 Artificer, although I'm going to switch out soon enough. I will say that this gets a ranged alacrity of 20%, and that does not stack with a Quiver of Alacrity. So if you're going to go with the Quiver of Alacrity, then you might want to not take this, but it's a possibility otherwise. Pinion is one of the best longbows in the game. Again, ranged alacrity 20%. Sirith is a killer quarterstaff. Lots of damage and feather falling and freedom of movement. And here we go. The Sword of Shadow. Probably the best greatsword in terms of damage. Certainly in terms of damage for its level in the game. It does 2d6 +5. It's adamantine. But really it's got a wide crit profile. And it's probably the best greatsword in the game. Cloudburst is another good one. This is a greatsword. I actually added this one thanks to a forum poster. So if you're the one who said, you guys need to add a Cloudburst on the forums, that's why it's in here, because I was like, oh, okay. Shocking Burst, Cloudburst, which is kind of nice on a Vorpal. It triggers lightning and sonic damage. Pretty awesome. And it's upgradable as well. The Robe of Winter Ice is a cosmetic. And then we have an auto-consume of 100,000 XP points. You can't auction it, you can't bank it. It auto-consumes when you take it. Please be aware of that. It auto-consumes when we take it. Oh, and we did manage to get this in. I thought that we didn't have this. We were trying to get it in, but didn't. But we did. So you also have a choice of 10 Commendations of Heroism. That is an option for you as well. Awesome. I didn't actually know that. I didn't include that on the forums because I wasn't aware until just now that we got that in. Cool. I knew we were going to, but then I thought we had an issue where we couldn't. So, awesome. I believe the XP Stone, we know it stacks with the VIP bonus. I haven't actually done the test to see if it stacks with all the other potions of XP boost and that, but I'm going to say probably. I was wondering if anyone could tell me why summoned crossbow bolts cannot be stored in a quiver. I don't know. Sorry. There are 3 different versions of Divine Vengeance, having no paladin... Oh yeah, Divine Vengeance, that's right, because it scales up based on your paladin level. That's why people like it. So it does different things based on that. Alright. See, I was gonna add Lucid Dreams, man. That was the one I wanted to add, but then everyone told me no. That docent also makes you look fabulous. That's correct. Yep. This is free stuff, one per account. The seven-fingered glove should allow you to have 2 more rings. I agree. Yeah. Yes, again, Barry sealed. This list is full and final. And the current, we haven't announced an exact end date, but it's going to be at least through March. So if the calendar says March, you can get your stuff, and it is possible that it'll say April and you can still get your stuff. But at the very least, we're going to say through March to turn in this stuff. Yeah, see, Lucid would have been my pick too, Quinfer. I was just like, well, clearly that's the one. And then people were like, no, it needs to be the other one. So it's like, well, okay, all right. Guys say so. I'm still using Lucid Dreams on my Artificers. And yes, I will get the, I will take the cosmetic on this guy. I will sacrifice my choice for you guys on the live stream here today. So that you can see what it looks like. Aren't I good? There we go. Here is the Cloak of Winter Ice. It is a good-looking robe. There we go. Alright. Yeah, probably one of those run through the weekend, turn it off Monday morning deals. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We will give you a time to... We will let you know. Alright, you guys ready to run this anniversary dungeon? I was thinking, what's our highest level character here? Level 8? I'm 7, so why don't we go in on CR 8? Alright. Oh, you know, I suppose maybe I could. I actually haven't learned my spells. Good going, Mock Duck. I actually haven't memorized. I need to go to a tavern and memorize my spells, so we need to drop out of the quest and reset it. I'm not going to be a very good wizard if I can't cast anything. Good going, hoser. Yep. Do all the dodge bonuses stack? I've seen that in Vice. I'm going to assume they're talking about the gnome thing, and it should. Yep. There we go. All right, let's let's actually do this then. I'm gonna take that. I'll take that. Take that. Take that. Take that. Good enough. Good enough. And I'll take that. That. Good enough. for the purposes of today, I can just get this stuff done. Might want visibility. Might want web. Might want that. No, I'm probably gonna need that. Good enough. All right. NPC Cordovan gave me a nasty dex-killing disease as the anniversary party last night. Yeah, I'll do that. So, kind of a funny story about the Cordovan fight. One of the guys was like, well, what, who was working on the dungeon was like, well, what should Cordovan do in the fight? And I said, well, what does he currently do? And the guy was like, well, at the moment he basically just spams negative levels and blade barrier. And I asked him, I was like, well, does he die easily? He was like, yeah. And I said, we're set. Alright. Sorry about that. We should be good to go now.
House Fjarlan guards block a kobold from entering the anniversary party. The excited creature waves to you.
Scrag know you! You helped Scrag in harbor!
The kobold points inside.
Find evil overlord! Stop kobolds and peoples from fighting!
I'm going to not spoil
The
too much of
kobold
this,
raise a glass to you as
because
you
I know
enter
some of
the
you maybe
grand
don't want it to
hallway.
be spoiled yet, so I'm going to save some of the extra tricks for you guys. But I did want to show you that even Elminster made it to the party
The group
here.
at the nearby table looks familiar.
And they're playing
Perhaps
D&D.
you met
And on
them in a
top of that,
tavern
if you
somewhere.
look... See, I may have to hop on a table to show you this. If you look at the character sheet, they're playing 3-5 in particular. So... there you go. Otherwise, I would say we have a bunch of nice lines here from party guests. Things that were kind of happened from over the game's history. The slime bug. The thing that happened in Crystal Cove that one time. The hatchery. Naked Tempest Spine. Bridge protest. Chairs. Owl bears. Mad Floyd. That kind of thing. Oh, you guys got Steel Star already. That's a bummer. Okay, that's fine though. I can talk a little bit about the
You spot
infamous
an
tokenless
unexpected
thing.
figure among the party guests. Your
So
old
we cannot
nemesis,
give you a
Melissa.
second token.
What is the succubus doing at an event like this? A dark figure beckons to you. Welcome.
And
he
we
cries
cannot
cheerfully
do an
as he
exchange on
raises
this thing
his
either.
weapon.
So, unfortunately.
Cordovan whispers something as he falls. You can't quite make it out, but you think it is something like... "Not
So,
cool,
the reason
cool."
we can't just give you another token is because we have some anti-exploit technology in there. You know, clearly one of the issues with the giving out such powerful items is we were afraid that if someone found a way to dupe it, it could be a real problem. So, we can't do that. So what we would have to do is create a new item that would give you, and then hook that item also up to the list. And we didn't have the ability to do that in time for the hotfix. So really the choice came down to, do we add the items we promised we were going to add on Lamania, or do we leave the list as it is? And when it came, we had a couple hours to make that
A figure
decision.
sits brooding on a throne, surrounded by servants.
And
The vanquished
rightly or
warrior
wrongly,
gives you one last
we
defense.
chose to
Next time,
add the
it
items
won't
that
be
people
so
wanted.
easy.
And the reason for that is because we had said we were going to do it, for one. Two, we wanted to give people an item that if they had everything, they could still get something, aka the XP stuff. And the heroism. Commendations of heroism, except that that ended up... We thought that that wasn't good. I thought that wasn't going to be included. And,
enter the dim hallway.
so that required us to do a build. So ultimately we had to do a build, and we put that out today. We put the word out on the forums and in the launcher as soon as we could, to let people know that new items were coming and that if they wanted to, they could hold off on their selection. But like I said, we were unable to do an exchange and we're unable to get a second one, due to the way we have it set up. So I understand that if you may be frustrated because you're like, well,
the harbor master
man,
nods at the door. The kobolds are back there. Maybe you
I would have picked something else had I known it was coming. We tried to get it to you as soon as we could. That's why we put the word out as quickly as we were prepared to. You could say, well, why didn't we get it out at 12:01 p.m. when we opened up the worlds? Well, it took us a little while to have that discussion of, well, do we leave the item list intact, or do we add the things we promised we were going to add? And if we add the things we promised we were going to add, well, what are we going to do about X, Y, and Z? And so ultimately we have decided to include the items to the list. And hopefully, when you picked from the list, you got something you wanted. And if you're upset because you wanted something else, do apologize. Thankfully, a lot of people did wait,
The kobolds have transformed
because we did get out the word pretty quickly.
Kobolds not welcome at
And so we have a lot of people who didn't use up their items yet. But certainly, you know, we've heard on the forums from those who have. And that sucks. And I apologize. So Knockback brought oatmeal raisin cookies today because of this. Best line in there? Yeah. Nice. So hopefully that answers your question. And I know that that's not going to make everyone happy. But it is the reality of the situation. And, you know, there was another, I remember seeing some comments as well, why didn't you just hang off on the hotfix? Well, because every day, every hour that we didn't have this new item list in, for one, was an hour that more people were going to be turning in their stuff, so we wanted to get this out as soon as we could. Additionally, the hotfix isn't really just for the item list, it was also, we had some door issues, where you couldn't complete Temple of Elemental Evil, or there were some issues with the tide turns, and a couple of other quests, so we needed to get that out too. And we have our data center move coming up next week. And some of the pre-work on that starts tomorrow with our network operations people. So we couldn't, if we were going to do a hotfix basically before mid-late March, we needed to get it done for Wednesday. So given that time frame and the need to make a decision, we made a decision. So yes, regarding the data center move, that is set tentatively. We'll have downtime announcements soon. Once, you know, we make sure, because again, like I say, there's some work that's taking place today on it, and every day. So, you know, we'll do it when the network operations people say, yes, we're ready to go. But the plan is to do it on March 8th. And it is going to involve some downtime, as would be expected with a data center move. Probably a fairly significant downtime. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but I know that for Lord of the Rings Online, we were looking at something like 12 hours. So that's probably in the time frame of what we can expect. Something along that line. We'll have more details as we get closer to it. But it should be something around March 8th. It'll be a significant downtime. We're moving to the new data center. And, yeah. Should be faster, better, more stable. Hopefully. So. So I remember we had a meeting where we were like, well, what are we going to do for the anniversary dungeon? We were like, well, who should be in it? You know, what should be in it? What should we do X, Y, and Z? And we ended up sort of like, well, Cheats has to be in it. Militia should be in it. You know, let's find the story there. And we did that. We wanted to use the Party Crashers dungeon and have a party because it makes obvious sense, right? So we did that. And it just kind of fell together in a really nice way. So, Mops1 says, I have a question. Why are the Voice of the Master and the Mantle of the World Shaper that you can get for the anniversary bound to character instead of bound to account? There's a reason for that. Reason being is we want you to only have one, not 1,000 of them. So, imagine what would happen if something were bound to account and you got one token per character. So every time you logged in, you would get the option to choose a bound to account item. And then when you choose that bound to account item, you could put it in your shared bank, roll up another character, choose another bound to account item, and do it infinitely. So that meant that all items had to be bound to account, with one exception. The one exception is the one I am wearing right now. The Robe of Winter Ice. You can't sell it, because it doesn't sell. It's bound to account. It's a cosmetic. So if you want to outfit this on your characters, you can do that. But you could do it anyway. So none of the stuff with power in it could be bound to account. Alright, is there a date set for the new release of the Gnomes? Yes. Monday. This past Monday. Gnomes are here! But they are actually, I was actually going to say that. I'm pretty sure they're all bound to character, because when I was making the list for it, the initial list, I had a list that was much larger. And then I had to narrow that list down to make sure everything was bound to character on Acquire. So. Urlock says, well, what about the issues Lotro had after their data center move? Hopefully we won't have those. No promises, but, you know, we learned some things from their data center move that hopefully should be applicable for us. Will you be providing compensation to all the frightened gamers who encountered Vargwheel? No. Well, yeah, you get a star. You get a star in game, yeah. With the data center move, is it dangerous to fill a TR cache? No. It really won't have any, I mean, we're talking hardware here, so all the game's data is going to be backed up and all that sort of thing, so that it won't really have any in-game effect like that. Should be good. Will there be a fighter pass? Yes, we are tentatively planning to do some fighter work. I don't know if I'm going to say a full class pass, but at least a little bit of enhancement work on the fighter. I believe that that's tentatively set for update 31. Have we considered stealing Torque back to the DDO team? Torque is a master His work is needed elsewhere. So I guess just last word on the tokens. Like I said, we had to make on the forums the issue is, well, how come we couldn't get a second one? But for us, the issue came down to, do we offer the list as it stood when Update 30 released, or do we add the things that we wanted to add and said we were going to add? And so the issue was not, do we give people another token, or do we find an exchange? It was, do we add the other items, or do we not? And so we did ultimately decide to add the other items. Am I going to fight myself? Yeah. I'm actually going to roll. I'm actually going to take my admin character, Cordovan, and I'm going to go up to the other Cordovan. It's going to be pretty fun. So. um, Will we be getting bulks of lumber also in Update 31? Yeah. I think they're going to be carried by Umber Hulks. Yeah, we are expecting to release Umber Hulk in Update 31. David Hasselhoff would be hilarious Dungeon Master? Yeah, I'd say that that's probably an accurate statement. Alright, so I just wanted to real quick go through the anniversary turn-in rewards too that you can get. They do have, level 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 versions of most of the items here. I'm just going to pop up to the level 30 rather than go through it all. It gets lesser as you go along. The light hammer is plus 14, negative energy absorption, negative resistance, a critical light effect plus 16, so 16d6 sonic damage on a critical hit. It does have a 7d6 light damage and an empty purple. The cookie cutter is a sickle, and it has 76 slash damage, plus 23 bonus to bypassing enemy fortification, an empty purple augment slot, 16d6 slash damage, I already said that. Oh, and an additional 76, so a critical is 16. And then it also has a bleed damage of 7 and a plus 14 bonus. The leaden boots are stunning 15, intimidate 21, a whirlwind ward, which prevents air elemental knockdown, insightful strength, and an empty green. The iron fists are shatter 15, diplomacy 21, 42 insight damage, plus 6 insightful charisma and empty green augment slot. Thick skin is plus 14, 18 PRR, 79 insight bonus to fortification, empty green, no worries, formerly known as constant criticism. Insightful fort 79, insightful sheltering 18, so it's 18 PRR and an empty green. The foil hat, it's cosmetic. Tinfoil hat. No comment. Broccoli Bashers, that's a club. This is basically an Oozebane, a high-level Oozebane sort of item. It doesn't list it in the thing because of reasons, but it's minimum level 25. It does 5d10 damage versus oozes, 5d6 bludgeon damage, also 12d6 bludgeon on a critical hit, ever bright blinding flash and purple augment. Steals Eternal Flask of Icy Pumpkin Coffee. You get bonuses as long as you drink it. And when you don't drink it, you get penalties. So once you start drinking Steel's Eternal Flask of Icy Pumpkin Coffee, you need to keep drinking it. Just like real coffee. The chocolate chip cookie. Greater vigor. The sugar cookie. We're not saying. The peanut butter cookie. Plus 1 festival bonus to all stats for 15 minutes, and then the oatmeal raisin cookie. From a distance, you thought this was a chocolate chip cookie. Now you're sad. I believe it gives you a -1 to your constitution. Let's see. Take the broccoli when I get it so you can see it. Yeah, that's a good call. Why are they broken? I don't know. It was a total bug. Yep. Okay. Umber Hulk playable race? No, it'll be a mob. Why didn't... Oh, wait, Titan, you've got a great question. Why did the Plus Cordovan in the Anniversary Dungeon not get the Blood Plate armor? Because Cordovan's always got the Blood Plate armor on, and I have for more than 5 years now. You're right. So here's the deep, dark secret about enemies in-game as opposed to player characters. You cannot simply just take an armor from a player character and drop it onto a mob. They use different technology. So for example, there is certain gear sets that I can put on the, or that could be put on the enemies that could not go onto characters and vice versa. The blood plate is one of them. We tried to find one that was close to the blood plate, but we couldn't actually get the blood plate on there. We would have had to literally make a version of it, like do a lot of artwork, and it just didn't really fit with the time and budget. So we had to find a blood plate like armor rather than the blood plate itself. Is there a naming rule that you cannot name a character after an NPC? I think I don't know. And if you can do it, you can do it, but if you can't, you can't. I hope we release stats on how many people choose the oatmeal raisin cookie. You know, so the only reason I can think of that would be beneficial is there are some times where you want to die quickly. And this is a very low cost, and this is a way that you can sort of force yourself to die without doing slash death. So it's not entirely useless. All right. Great. Thanks very much for joining me this week, guys. I really appreciate it. One Who Knocks, Mayunithra, Drenkrom, Redmorn, and Heather. I'm going to get you guys a set of 500 turbine points in-game a little bit later on this afternoon. I'll send them through the in-game mail. And much appreciate you guys joining me. That's going to wrap up the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDOstream and youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live. Quick note, we do have our bonuses still going through Thursday of this week, so the festivals and all that's going on. You can find the entire list on DDO.com. This weekend we're going to be kicking off a bonus that I wrote down when I did the Chronicle yesterday and now can't remember. Let me call that up real quick. 20% Quest XP, so not Raid XP, Quest XP, and a plus 5% VIP XP. That's going to kick off on Thursday morning, so yes, for one day it's going to mesh with some of those events. By the way, the events are the Champion Hunter Week, the Reezy Ice Games, Evening Star Midwinter Festival, Festival, Crystal Cove, plus 20% Challenge Rewards, and plus 10 Heroic and Epic XP. So the only thing that won't change is the plus 10 Heroic XP is going to bump up to plus 20 rather than go to 30. Excuse me. Let's see, we are doing the data center move, so that's the next big thing. The hotfix is out. You could find out what that was about by going to the forums. I know Shoemaker from the DDO Wiki has been doing a lot of great help to highlight some of the stuff from our 10th anniversary stream from last Friday and get that both out on YouTube and Twitch. So check out our YouTube page in particular. That's youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons, one long word, no ampersand. if you would like to check out some of those highlights in particular, I'd recommend at least listen to the one with Torque. We also go into a dev area called Playday that's interesting. I talked to all the executive producers pretty much that are still around. Could get in touch with a few of them. And just a whole bunch of cool interviews there. So hopefully you check that out. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did, and had a good time this weekend as well, seeing you in-game, giving out some items. We're going to do a little bit more of that. You know, that's not entirely done yet, but we're getting pretty close. And hope you enjoyed the Gnome and Update 30. Thanks very much for joining me. See you again soon. Also, just coming up, 4 o'clock, DDO as she is played, 11 o'clock. The Midnight Renegade is starting. The brain does not work. No worky brain. And then Thursdays, Muskrum Argo. I happen to know he's going to be doing some giveaways. And you can find our full schedule on twitch.tv/DDO stream. Bye-bye.